Oh, shit. That's fun. The sneeze, suddenly. You know what? Goblins probably check who else is alive. No, it may not be the same afterwards. Goblins probably overthinking. Yeah. That was nice. Nice. It should be a nice day. Anyway, time to work on the project. So what does Goblin need to do on here? That's left, so stats. Hmm. Sorcerers doesn't sounds weird. Sounds sorcerers doesn't sound weird. Anyway. Alright, what's this here? It's a full well, okay, correct that, that needs to be capital, stats, capital, No, that makes sense. Right, so Gollum at the arm is So that's right, mostly of metal. Because if it's anything made mostly of metal, like, why is it trying to correct that? That's stupid. No, that makes sense to correct. No, that's an action type. Not, it's a type of action, not. Gosh, I know it's gonna be annoying, isn't it? No. Because that is an action type. Golden didn't know it needed to be done like that, okay. Why is that incorrect thing? No, it does not. Shut up. Like, why was the one correct that? No, that's what's called the spell. Like what? Or whatever. Right. Let's see here. Oh, hello, the real ball. Oh, welcome. Goblin hasn't streamed in a while. It's good to see you, Ike. You should have been on earlier. You were probably some of the people that came on for a bit. So Goblin will clarify. Goblin was streaming earlier. Goblin was playing Valorant. The game crashed. and made it so Goblin couldn't close it at all. When Goblin tried to reopen it, and Goblin was stuck there, and basically had to restart stream because of Valorant. So that happened. Where Goblin got raided by Eerie Adventures. Very lovely streamer. Goblin would recommend you go and check her out. Goblin will give her a second shout out here, just so you can see it. Shit. Shout out. Here's the name. Eerie Adventures. But yeah, it's been a bit. Why is it now in Goblin? Well, anyway, actually, you probably can see our messages in the past. If not, Goblin will just copy a name here. Because Goblin doesn't actually want to. So just go to this. That's my name. And the Real Ball. She's a really chill streamer. She does role-playing stuff on like Red Dead Redemption, mostly single-player games like Goblin forgets what it's called. She's a very fun streamer. She's very sweet. She's very entertaining. And she definitely gives the comfy vibes. That a lot of streamers love of that do. So, Goblin believes you'll enjoy it. But yeah, she's pretty entertaining. And with that aside, back to writing. So Goblin is on the pages. Those guys. Here we are. I write every day. Otherwise, is that one well? That's a repeat, so delete that. No, that's right. Talbell is correctly spelled. That's supposed to be eagle. Goblin thought that was corrected already. Why does it need to be capitalized if it's eagle? Why does badger needs to be capitalized? If these are animal names, why do they need to be? A diamantis doesn't need. Why? Oh wait, that's mantis. Okay. Goblin may have spelled eagle on then. Is this how you spell eagle? No, it definitely isn't. No, like how do you spell eagle? Gosh dang that. Well, thank you, Eoball. Feel free to have luck. Feel free to have fun. And oh, thank you. EAG. Oh, okay. So Goblin doesn't need the N. Thank you. Eagle and then badger. Goblin can look that up here. But thank you for the spelling correction. So, like a honey badger, that should help Goblin find the honey badger. Oh, so that's how you spell it. Okay. Goblin got it. It's bad Benja. Okay. My Goblin father was always weird spelling, but what the sound of words sometimes badger. There we go. Now, mantis was correct. Was bad. Eagle was correct. Badger. Like, why is that only on here that's wrong? What in the world? Oh well. Spell bonds, though, is still fine, so. Sheesh. Yeah. Goblin actually needs to figure out what does Goblin want, because the Goblin's technically at 100 subs or followers right now. Goblin hasn't done anything for it, and it's like, wait a minute. Goblin has 100 followers now. Shouldn't Goblin do something for this special occasion? Yeah, Goblin probably should, but Goblin doesn't really know what to do. That's definitely something that Goblin needs to figure out. Goblin does want to check something. Nope, she says there's hybrid. Oh, Goblin could probably give a happy information. Goblin does have a D&D session planned for tomorrow. Or should be, at least. So Goblin's just gonna actually double check on that really quick here while Goblin has time. Yeah, Goblin's gonna go and check all the parties are ready for tomorrow. Yeah, Goblin needs to pull up a timestamp converter. Timestamp. Why is it doing timestamp? This for New York. Yeah, so actually, Goblin can probably give this. Because that's tomorrow, and it's not. Double checking. Goblin game plans ready for D&D. There we go. Alright, back to typing. Or, that should be right. Summon, special mail, stone stare. If you choose. Okay, what's on here? Oh, that's one. Yeah, no, that. I'll just still check all the others. Mm. Mm. No, that's how it's called. That's how it's called. So, animal spells, animal fusion slash evolution. Mm. What is we need to be done left to play this guy? Just basic spelling correcting, and that's just a skill. Gosh, I knew what it was. That could be changed to this as capitalized, so it makes more sense. Consistent. Just cuts down. Net. It sets up. AIG. Fire it's like for me. Yo ho, yo ho. Mm. There's that. You could, if you see. Instead of 5. Cool. So Goblins plays again, ready for D&D. It's a 4-person campaign. The real ball. So it's not technically full, but you probably want to hear about the game first before you decide anything or beg for anything. So, 1. In this upcoming campaign, it is not based in Goblin's cool tabletop RPG world. No matter how much Goblin wishes, Goblin could get players to playtest this. Like, Goblin would get an entire separate D&D or tabletop RPG session going just for this and all that, but Goblin hasn't gotten players that would be interested in that playtesting type of thing. But that aside, it's based. So this tabletop RPG game is in the world of Warcraft. It's based in the world of Warcraft. Like where Death Knights exist as with the Lich King. That game from Blizzard. That entire world. That's where the setting is happening for this tabletop RPG. And with this setting, it also has, so basically in this world, it's a separate timeline. So it's separate from the game, it's its own timeline. Like how there's that there's a quest in the game World of Warcraft where you travel between different timelines, and there was one timeline Goblin saw that was hilarious, where it was like, all those fish that go, gong gong! Like those fish-like creatures that called like Goblins, I guess the names. Goblins gonna pull it up here. Like, what are they called? The wild fish like rays that go. Small in size. The Murlocs. So there was one timeline the Murlocs were shown in, so a world where everyone was just Murlocs. There were no other races, everyone was just a Murloc. Giant Murlocs, smaller Murlocs. It was an hilarious timeline that Goblin laughed Goblin's butt off of. That existed. So Goblin was like, what if there was a timeline out there in the world of Warcraft where half the world flooded? So Goblin's party, the players, are going to be these sailing pirate adventurers or people in the world of Warcraft that basically half the world has flooded out of World of Warcraft. Not only just the world, like other dimensions as well have flooded halfly or partly. So, like, the portal to that place where the floating islands are, and it's the home of the demon, like, elf guy. After the War of the Demons, etc. The second update, that dimension, where that updates that with that green portal, that world's halfly flooded as well. Like, every single place has been partly flooded. Pandora, etc., all of it. And alongside that, So because the world's partly flooded, it's been years since the flood happened. The world's divided still, and it's war, of course, still, because it's World of Warcraft, for crying out loud. If you don't have war going on of some sort, what are you doing? And thank you, Flowers, Gold, and Gambit for the follow. Yeah, thank you for the follow. But back to explain the campaign. Yeah, like Flowers, Golden, and Gambit. Yeah, that's a lovely name, actually. Goblin likes that name. Of course, the real ball brought you here. Of course, the real ball dragged you here. Goblin apologizes for you being dragged here. Goblin hopes you enjoy the stay. You can freely lurk, hook, and please don't lose your mind, as Goblin has with Goblin's own insanity. And yes, Goblin speaks in third person. Listen, Goblin doesn't get humies at all. Humies are weird. Why don't you speak in third person? So much funner. Anyway. Oh, you don't have a mind to lose? You'll get along with Goblin just fine, then. Fabulous. But that aside, to get back to the point of the insanity speaking of the tabletop RPG nonsense, if the planned session in the World of Warcraft, the Real Bowl, to answer your questions. Yep, and you're gonna be hearing about it. So because the world is halfly flooded, and the world of Warcraft, so goblins, worgens, undead, head humans, the Horde and Alliance, they still exist in the world. They still exist, but it's a lot more messy now. They don't fight as much as they used to between each other. And the world's at odds right now because half the world's flooded. That means less land, more fighting over land control, and a lot less alliances between different races and all that. So, even elves are at odds with, humans, etc. But they still have their alliances somewhat stable. Somewhat very loosely. But, with that, because of all this details, the world now, well, there's a lot of pirates out there these days. The party is about those people that would get together and form a pirate crew. That is the plan. And as usual, you know how Goblin rolls. Goblin does not like evil campaigns for personal reasons or stuff. If you want to do an evil campaign, please seek for another DM. But please do enjoy your stay. The usual rolling and all that. No evil campaign stuff. So they're, good pirates, etc. Like Luffy. So it's going to be interesting seeing how they do things. And no, they're not looking for the One Piece. No matter how much funny that would be. But for one reason or another, they're going to choose their own, whatever kind of story they want to do as pirates, and what kind of good actions they take. We'll see what happens. But another factor into this world is that, unlike the rest of the World of Warcraft universe, it has a place called Mount Ebit, in the lands of where, the Lich King was at, etc. The continent up to the north, that frozen cold one and all that, with the Lich King. Up there's Mount Ebit. Does anyone here know what Mount Ebit is? I don't know if someone gets that reference. Yes! Oh, now the real world's catching on, yes. So Mount Ebit's in this world. That means, yes, monsters from the underground exist here in the World of Warcraft. So that means magical souls, stuff like that, exist here. So there will be soul magic references and stuff like that mixed into World of Warcraft world building and what they have. So two different worlds collide together in a flooded pirate adventure nonsense. And Goblin will be blunt here. Goblin can only tell you what run has happened with the barrier broken. It is a genocide run. You know what that means. There's a looming threat out there that is wandering the world. Because it's not going to be an ally, no. It's not going to be an ally to anyone. But there's some players, Goblin will have it so. Goblin's just going to spoil it for you guys. Goblin's going to have it so some of the players will notice things being strange. The timeline, like it feels like they're having deja vu. Like something repeats sometimes. All while a young lady, Goblin's just going to be blunt here, Goblin's just making the fallen human Frisk adult woman. One reason only. There is no way a child goes and massacres all the underground in Goblin's very biased opinion. You don't have to agree with Goblin. You don't have to. But yeah, basically, Goblin's biased opinion. Human Frisk, adult woman. It's just the gender Goblin chose. Goblin doesn't care. Like, it could be a dude. But basically, genocidal biomaniac wanders the world of Warcraft now. And a lot of monsters were killed off in the underground, but there's still a lot of monsters left. Sans is dead, though. Papyrus is dead. Undying, dead. Alphys, dead. Metaton, dead. 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 Like Flowey, dead. Just dead. In fact, Goblin will even give you a spoiler here. Kara, also dead. Not just like the ghost host or the haunting thing. Kara, dead. Absolute, dead. Even, it's like the idea that Kara fights against the genocide player, dies. Oh, you're all gonna be blunt here. The genocide player is puppeteering Frisk, forcing Frisk to kill everyone. The genocide player is a canon thing. Goblin's actually really tempted to make it so Goblin's chat controls the genocide player. You know what? Chat may be the genocide player. Goblin may make you guys be the ones controlling the genocide player. That would actually be hilarious. Chat is the genocide player. And, well, here's the thing. You don't know, because it's only recently that the Frisk has escaped the underground. Only recently. So in the timeline of events, there's definitely going to be a lot more dead being found by this maniac, mainly being puppeteered by the genocide player, because the genocide player is a canon character in Goblin's opinion. So, yeah. But that aside, Goblin's going to pull it up here. You know what, Goblin's just going to let you know. So you're not even the BBEG. Goblin's going to be blunt here when you control, if the chat wants to. As the 8th fallen human Frisk, you're not even the BBEG. You are not the big bad evil guy. You just exist. As a menace. And Goblin's going to, actually, yeah, you know what? Goblin's going to switch here for a sec and show you the character sheet for Frisk. So Goblin's going to find that here. Where is that? Okay. Alright. Oh, so you want to... If you want to join the campaign. So, it already has like 4 players. And so Goblin definitely wouldn't mind, but it would have to be up to the players. Goblin would have to ask them first if they would be comfortable with 2 new people. That would be the requirement. So Goblin would ask them first. But other than that, and Goblin would want to give them a session together first as a group of players. But yeah, so Goblin's going to show you here. So this is the 8th fallen human. 1, you're level 20 fighter. 2, you're a human, subtype demon. Alignment, no idea. Small, blah blah. Puppet of the player. Health, 280. Hey. That's because D&D rules work way differently than regular rules. 2, these are your stats. Everything else doesn't matter. You just care about killing, so these are the only 3 stats you care about. So, time to go over everything you have. 1, feat reset. You can reset the timeline whenever you die. And save and all of that. Power, reset, and save. Determination. Goblin actually made it more bullcraply terrifying, so... So, this is 3.5, by the way, flowers, so that means it's a lot more complicated, 3.5 stuff. But it's also like, it's way more fun. Oh, no, this is 3.5 actually has, like, on Roll20 here. This is that fan-made sheet that they have for Roll20. It's actually very good. It's very easy to organize, really. It has a very good structure to it, in Goblin's opinion, but sometimes they change it. That makes it, like, a bit weird in some areas. But with 3.5, the higher customization is so much fun for Goblin. But also, Goblin had to, like, just make stuff up, because it's like, it's the power, determination, resets. Like, Goblin has to make some custom stuff for that. But basically, to summarize what determination does, it basically just gives, like, Goblin just went full fighter class for Frisk. So full on fighter, a lot more feats, a lot more scary. They made it so without any of the downsides of Barbarian's Rage and Sneak Attack, no downsides to them. All downsides are removed. The Genocide player has Barbarian's Rage and Rogue Sneak Attack with no downsides. That means no need for flanking with Sneak Attack. No need for them being denied the it's basically meant to make Frisk truly one-kill death. But yeah, so just as an example here, Goblin's gonna pull up the knife, but the Goblin... Yep, Scimitar. Yeah, alright, The reason the Genocide player is going to be even more scary is because with this Scimitar weapon, with how it works, it crits on a 9. If you roll a d20, if it lands on a 9, Frisk crits. Goblin broke the rules of 3.5 to make it so she was terrifying as possible. Wanna know why? Because it's supposed to be the demon that came and wiped out all the monsters on the underground heartlessly and deliberately hunted them all. So, yeah, Goblin went all out to make Frisk as terrifying as possible. Because the one thing that Goblin did, so the way that this happens, is the rules for 3.5, with crit ranges. There's an enchantment for weapons called Keen, which basically makes so a weapon's crit range, so like a 20 and 20 crit range, let's say for a sudden weapon, means you have to roll 20 to crit, as you know normally. A crit range increase doubles it with Keen, an enchanted weapon, making it so a 19 to 20 to crit. So that means you can roll a 19 and still crit. But with 3.5, there's also a feat that is called Improved Critical. With specific weapon, you can choose to have an improved crit range and not need the enchantment King. You cannot stack these both. You cannot stack both. Yeah, it's new player friendly. Only like the way a Goblin would do it is help you just make your character. It's just up to level 3. You're not going to instantly run into the Genocide player Frisk. There's a random chance percentage Goblin plans to see if when the players run into Frisk, but it won't be for a while. She won't show up for a while. This is just Goblin showing off one of the potential threats they're going to be running from. Because there's no way you can take on this threat at low level like 3. Nope, this is a level 20 threat. This is a BBG on its own. Separate from the usual stuff. But that's the Goblin's point. So the rules of 3.5 normally say you cannot stack Improved Critical and the Enchantment Keen. They do not work together. You cannot stack them. For a reason. And that's this very reason that Goblin broke the rules for. Basically say, nah, Frisk ignores the rules and gets to have a crit range of 9 to 20. That's over half the dice sides on D20. That means, because it's a Scimitar though, because normally if Goblin went with a Grim Reaper Scythe for Frisk, it would be like a crit range of 17 to 20. But a Scimitar can crit on 18 to 20. That means that 18 to 20 goes to a 16 to 20 crit range with just one of the Keen or the Keen feat or the Keen enchantment or the Improved Critical feat. But if you break the rule and stack them for a Scimitar or a Rapier or any weapon with an 18 to 20 crit range, if you break that rule, it just gets to a 9 to 20 crit range. So, yeah. This is the most terrifying boss Goblin's ever made, because, Goblin actually can try to do the math here. So, when Frisk rages, because she has all the abilities of a Barbarian, basically. So basically, a +8 to Strength while raging, so that's a temporary modifier. So already, boom, he's terrifying. And then, let's see here. So, full attack round, which she gets a full attack round action here. Oh, wait, and not only that, wait. Speed as well, so that's an extra attack. And no to flanking, because who needs that? And then a single attack. Look at those rolls there. Actually, can you even see the rolls? Goblin's going to double check here. Are you seeing the rolls? Yeah, you can. There's not a single not crit there. All of them crit. All of these critted. So Goblin would have to roll damage rolls multiple times for each of these attacks. And then add sneak attack bonus every single time. And that's not even including the numbers here. Actually, Goblin's going to try to do the math here. Give Goblin a sec here. Goblin's going to do some math. It's going to be scary math. So one, the Frisk could easily just give up base stat bonus of 20 and just actually wait power hit. Oh no. Goblin's going to be doing some scary math here for maximum damage that Frisk can do. She's going to be terrifying. Let's see, it's a full attack action. Yeah. So that's 20 automatically. And then the strength bonus is 10. So 20 plus 10, that's 30 guaranteed every time. Times 5 attacks, that's already 150 damage. Then let's see here. The sneak attack bonus is 10d6, so 10d6. Wait, that's actually, wait. That's 10 times 5 attacks, that's 50, so 50 times 6 is a... Give Goblin a second here. Goblin's doing terrifying math. Goblin forgot how scary this is going to be. Then, 5 attacks times 4. 4. There's 5 attacks times 4. And then also do a 6 times 5 as well for the 5 attacks. So, when Goblin looks at the history, it's 30, 20. Yep, okay. Plus 20. Plus 30. So without even being doubled yet, because the damage would be doubled. So Goblin's just doing the math here. So already, without the damage being doubled. This is without the damage being doubled. This is how much damage Frisk would do in 5 hits. Max possible, without being doubled. But then you times that, well, you already know how high that gets. Then on top of that, you have to consider the odds of percentage chance, because Goblin does a whole thing, or it's a house rule really that Goblin does, where you roll a percentage die, and the higher your percentage gets, on graph table Goblin has, Goblin checks, and it could increase the critical multiplier, or even give other downside effects. Like, the maximum possible thing you can get, if you got like 100%, is basically you just get a guaranteed kill. This is just a guaranteed kill if Frisk crits. And that's for each attack, actually, by the way, which crit separately. The math is, there's a reason that Frisk, as a video game character, it's made into a D&D tabletop RPG character, with the rules being broken, of course, a little bit, just to make it so Frisk can be terrifying as possible, is a terrifying boss. With being puppeteered by the genocide player. And by the way, even if you kill Frisk, Reset goes at it again and knows your patterns. Oh no! So no, so the party do not have determination like Frisk. Frisk is the only one with determination, so that means if they die for good. Unless Frisk resets. If Frisk resets all the way back, the characters would be back to level 3, back to where they started, ground 0. It depends on when Frisk resets and how far back she resets to. But yeah, back to working on Tabletop RPG. Goblin just wants to... No, yeah, that's fair. Like, technically speaking, that could be seen as an infinite content hack. Goblin didn't even think about that. Like, wait a minute. An endless PBG? Well, that may be the fail AR Goblin. Alright, so Goblins doesn't go back to the player's guide. That is the point, Ray. Frisk, because Goblins gonna clarify here, Frisk and the player are two separate entities. The player is their own entity within the world. Because here's the thing, like, have you both seen Deltarune? This does affect, like, what Goblin's talking about. Deltarune. Sorry, Goblin's sending a message here. Okay, so Goblin's going to tell you something. Do you mind a little spoiler for Deltarune? Just chapter 1. Just chapter 1. If you don't want a spoiler, Goblin will not say. It would just be for chapter 1 of Deltarune. Okay, so in Deltarune chapter 1, at the end, the player character you're playing as, the name is Chris, by the way, you don't get a choice in the name. It is just Chris. It is chosen for you. Takes the Determination Soul, his soul technically speaking in what people understood before, grabs it and rips it out and tosses it into a bird cage. And the soul can still move around, but Chris is moving on his own separate from the soul. Goblin points this out. Because this, in Goblin's opinion, Goblin always had his opinion, even with Undertale, with the story and lore and what was known, that the player, us the player, are a separate entity from those that we puppeteer and control in the worlds of Undertale and Deltarune. The players are their own entities in the world of Undertale and Deltarune. So Frisk and the player are not the same person. Do you get what Goblin's saying? There's a player in the world of Warcraft, mass genociding everyone. So yeah. So that is how Goblin sees it. And so it's gonna be fun seeing how everyone handles things, because it's good. Like Goblin's wanted to do this for so long. An idea where Goblin basically does a campaign involving Undertale, where you have to avoid the threat of Frisk being controlled by the player. Goblin's so excited to see how this goes. But yeah, 2 shows. So right now, for you, Flowers, you don't know as much as the Real Ball does here. But the Real Ball, just to take a break from talking about Goblin's campaign that's starting tomorrow, which Goblin is excited for still. Goblin thinks it's going to be fun. This is a tabletop RPG here, this Word doc that Goblin is working on, called Rises and Descenders. Goblin's been working on it for a bit now. And this is the Rise of campaign setting. And Goblin's just going to zoom down to the bottom here for the Chapter 2 stuff. Here's Chapter 2. Where Goblin, this is the correct spelling for infiltrator. What in the world? It's not a word, infiltrator. You only have infiltrate or infiltrated. About someone who's an infiltrator. How do you spell that then? Anyway. Just some background stuff here for background items. Goblin wants to show some races here. Blah blah blah. No, this is the one that Goblin wants. These are the ones Goblin wants to talk about. Where the inspiration came from, etc. Oh, wait, is that the proper spelling? Infiltrator? Goblin's gonna try that actually. Thank you to your ball here. That's one thing that is annoying about Goblin admits here. Goblin, although for the first human language that Goblin knows of, because technically there's a Goblin language, you can't all understand it. It sounds like gibberish to you all. So, that's how it's spelled. Thank you. That is actually so much help. There we go. But basically, these are some races Goblin's working on. Nah, it's just Goblin, even though it's technically Goblin's first human language and all of that, English and all of that, Goblin's still very bad at it sometimes, so Goblin appreciates it when Goblin gets help. Yeah, no. Goblin understands Flowers. When someone can spell a very difficult word, especially out, a supercalifragilistic. How do you even say that word, Mary Poppins? Ah! By the day that Goblin finally says that word properly, Goblin's gonna scream out, "I'm Mary Poppins, y'all!" Supercalifragilistic. Goblin cannot handle S's and T's sometimes. Goblin messes those up. But this word, or roll the R, no, it's roll the R's. Goblin struggles rolling the R's. Anyway. Supercalifragilistic. What the world is Goblin saying? Goblin will take a break today for trying that, but Goblin one day will pronounce that word. Anyway. So behind Goblin here, in this Word doc abyss of working on stuff, this is some races that Goblin added for the Rise of Goblin's campaign book that are playable race options, and Goblin just wants some thoughts. One, the Cursed Scar is deliberately spelled like that. That is the race name for it, is just considered incorrect, all that. That aside, time to get to the point. So the Dullahan up here. Do either of you know what a Dullahan is? And thank you for that, Pat. So the ball. So a Dullahan. So Dullahans are not. They're from more Asian myth. Dullahans are more from the Asian myths like Kitsune are. So like China, Japan, and India, that area, North Korea as well. Like Goblin doesn't know which one specifically, but it's more of an Asian myth. But America does have a similar story, and that's what got Goblin to learn about Dullahan. And with technically a mythical being and all of that, that's one person, not an entire species, an entire race. And that is the Headless Horseman. And so Goblin went and took the idea, oh, American Headless Horseman, but will look similarly in idea and concept to the Dullahan. Boom. So Goblin went and used the Dullahan basically as an idea to say the Headless Horseman is the Dullahan race in a way, okay, and it's made that a playable race. And with the Dullahan, Goblin will say, the Dullahan do have the normal heads, unlike the Headless Horseman. So the Headless Horseman actually lost their head, and the Dullahan, they usually have a flame actually where the heads and neck would connect, and it varies on color, but they're very cool in Goblin's opinion, Dullahans. And so with the Dullahan, Goblin is excited to see how, if Goblin ever gets to Tabletop RPG playtest and rolling. So the way that Dullahan works is that they are a bit more physically strong and agile, but don't have much understanding, because what are you going to do when you have headless and all of that? You're headless sometimes and all that, and you have to carry your head around. Of course, you're going to have less understanding of things, and a bit less endurance. That's because of the weirdness of their body. And your body can, the Dullahan's body can be separated from the head, like, as far as they can. You can separate them forever, but they can work separately without needing each other. But they can feel what's happening to each other all the time. And so, with that, it's very fun and to build, in Goblin's opinion, cause, like, Goblin's gonna pull it back up. Sorry, Goblin's had to switch between, actually, wait a minute, no, why is, this is why Goblin has Goblin's phone out to read chat while Goblin talks. Like, why in the world does Goblin not have that open? But, back to it. So the Dullahan basically has abilities around horse riding skills, but also being separated from the head, and some unique choices for combat style buffs and all that. That's what Goblin did for them. And it's Goblin's pretty excited to see how people play with this idea. But also, like, they're size large. Goblin decided to make them large in size. So that means, like, the size categories Goblin's going to explain here. You know how, like, a horse is large? A Dullahan's, like larger than average humans, as a side category large. So normally, normal horses, they can't ride. Unless they hop on ride one, and it becomes a flaming Dullahan horse temporarily when they're riding it, and becomes a size larger to fit them. So basically, a large horse would become huge. Hounds? What? Goblin didn't misspell horse. There's no way Goblin misspelled horse. No, Goblin's spelling horse right. Do not make Goblin panic and think Goblin misspelled horse. Gosh dang it. But yeah, so Dullahan is built around basically unique fun combat style, being a size bigger, and being able to be separated from the head. Basically about, so it's good. It should be fun, hopefully. Hopefully a Dullahan. And also you can choose what flame color you have for your Dullahan when you play one. Even between red, blue, green, yellow, purple, or orange. And color between the connection and head point. Gosh dang, now that's not putting hounds down. It's horse. Goblin spelled it correctly. Yeah. Orange. No, Goblin spelled. Don't make Goblin think Goblin spelled orange wrong. You're trolling Goblin. Used. Anyway. Now the next race here. This one's going to be a bit more dark. So prepare for sadness. Gosh dang it. Thank you, that's ball. Anyway, the Kuskar. The Kuskar is a playable undead race. So like how Goblin has told you that Goblin has playable skeletons and zombies, this is a playable undead race as well. So they get undead traits, of course, like any undead, but they're size small, for humans at least. They actually are always a size smaller than their original chosen base race. So you can choose to be a human, a troll, all of that, but you'd be a size smaller than them. So like a troll, a base trace troll, or Skuskar, would be a size smaller and be medium instead of large. So, the Kuskar, they're an undead that basically were a child before they came undead. But basically, because of horrific events that happened in their lives, they died and became an undead. And with that, they're basically undead children as a playable race. Yep. Basically, abusive parents, your child has a chance of becoming a Kuskar then. And left to die in a river, chance of becoming a Kuskar. High. Very high then. And they usually tend to have a distrust of adults. Yeah, this is an impressive race Goblin made. And so the whole thing is basically, they are sad, they don't like adults, and are protected by those around them that are allies. But also want to help and do good things. Yeah, Goblin hopes this isn't describing this isn't against Twitch guidelines. And the Kuskar, it's a playable race. It's a bit more sad race, but it's the idea of like undead children come back from dead, beat up mean adults. And no, Goblin is tempted to. You know what? Goblin actually is gonna pull up that old map. Like, where is that at? Goblin's gonna go somewhere. So Goblin hasn't been to a bit. Like, let's see here. Home page. Goblin's just gonna download it and all that. So where is it? Ah, here it is. Loading game. Yeah, so Goblin is excited to see how it goes along with that storyline setup. And Goblin will be sending these updated like documents up on Goblin's Discord. And Viewable, you're in there already. Hey, there should be like a link still on here if the fly was interested. And really, Goblin hopes to get playtesters to play and just have fun with this and help Goblin improve this, work on this project, because that's one thing Goblin's been bad at, is getting Goblin to work on it, but because like every time Goblin tries to work on it, Goblin yawns, Goblin gets tired, and really Goblin doesn't even know if it's good yet, so it's like, Goblin would appreciate getting Goblin stuff to work on it more and get finished before Goblin dies in Goblin's 80s. Which Goblin's still in like human years of 20 years old. Yeah, Goblin in human years 20s. Oh wait, Goblin doesn't even have to. Goblin makes things so complicated sometimes. Ah, here it is. Can Goblin not download it? Come on. What is going on here? Okay, can Goblin... Okay, this is getting good. Yeah, sorry, Goblin's just trying to download a map, because you know what, Goblin will just go over to the old world map. So Goblin was actually playing in the world with some friends that Goblin made this project for, actually. So it was very nice for time, but the group fell apart, sadly, but Goblin still has the world map here, so Goblin still has to download on laptop, but Goblin doesn't remember where. But Goblin just wants to show the world map to you too. Alright, boom. This is the world map. And that shouldn't be there at this point anymore, because, yeah, that was them drawing for stuff. So this is the world of Risers and Descenders. Yeah, sadly, the party fell apart, but it was a fun campaign for a while. Yeah. So this was drawn by Tunafish. She was the one who drew it for Goblin, and Goblin gratefully is grateful for it. So Goblin's going to describe some things here so you can see the world. So this here, this little island here, that's not a normal island. Unlike all these islands or continents, there are the 7 continents here. This here is the island of just dead bodies. These are all dead bodies. Just a pile of dead bodies. That's all that island is. There's so many dead bodies there. It is an island. That gray spot right there. Dead in the middle. In fact, the smell there is so bad, even undead will gag to it, and it can be seen from most of the continents. So Goblin will, draw a circle here, so... Yeah, draw this here. Yeah, so here we are. So anyway, about this purple rain that's being formed here, to about there. So all that area in that purple rain, all can see the island of dead bodies. That's how big it is. Now, to explain some places here and important points of lore, for one, these are the 7 continents. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Those are the 7 continents. And each of these areas with little magical things, this is like a magical forest over here. Here, there's some mystical areas, mountain ranges. Here, desert areas on the top here. There's plenty of biomes of all types. The cold here is quite more often. Here, etc. Now, this area is one of Goblin's favorites. It is the frozen jungle. It is a jungle of mix of like what you expect from a safari jungle with monkeys and all that, mixed with a frozen wasteland vibe of both of them combined with snow, climbing up jungle trees and existing in a strange harmony. Yeah. And then there's not even there's a few areas like this here. There's a reason there's steam here specifically, and that's because these are waterfalls that go deep into the Earth's crust. And basically, these are waterfalls in the ocean to deeper into the planet's crust. By the way, this planet is called New Earth. For a reason, though. There is a reason why it's called New Earth. And these borders here, these water borders here, these dark blue water areas here, and all that, and even the borders up here at this point, this is just half the world map. This is only half the world. The other half of the planet, which by the way, the size is really, really big. Gollum gets the exact number Gollum gave, but basically it is bigger than Jupiter, the planet with the red dot. Gollum may need to double check. It's a very big planet. Goblin probably put in the players guide. So what? My Goblin can put here. So players guide, world size, size. Hmm. Nope, so Gollum didn't put it there. It's probably in the game owner's guide then. Here we are. Gollum will give you the exact size here in a second. So, actually, yeah, size. Size. Shouldn't take too long to find. Like it says, like, where is it? Come on, it's not. Mm. Like, where is it? Okay, no, Gollum is world. World. Okay, planet, maybe? Ah, here we are. Here's world building. 9 disasters, old Earth, the rise of the dinosaurs, age of fire. How big is this? What's this planet size? Come on. Oh, come on, seriously? Gosh, no. Sorry, Golin's a bit bad finding stuff. Okay, now stick here. And yep, so this is the timeline of the world. Right, Gollum also. Where is it? Where would it be? It would be in this information area of lore. Hmm. Wait, you've been following for a year? Wait, what? There's no way Goblin's been streaming that long. There's no way. There's no way. Wait, seriously, you've been following for a year? Oh, wait. Well, in 2 days you will have. In 2 days, technically. But basically, yeah, wow. Goblin's been doing this for a long time, dang. Hmm. Okay. Disasters, leaders. Hmm. Okay, so there's been 3 billion years. Yep. Blah, 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 videos. Oh, come on, where is it? You know what? Goblin has a way to find it, so it's like. Hmm. Mountain ranges, Goblin to describe. Okay. Well, this. 19. So it's not. No, that's glowstones, that's money. Age. Uh. World size. Come on, what did Goblin call it? Size. Werewolf. Hmm. Yeah, no, that's fair. 2 days is enough. And why you guys keep saying hounds? Goblin spelled horse correctly. Gosh dang it, you're gonna make me fun of Goblin of this forever, aren't you? How dare you? How dare you as Goblin loses mind? Yeah. It's a rare kind of horse, huh? Oh, why does Goblin not believe you? Hmm. Okay, come on, there has to be a way to find the size. Wait, it was miles. Goblin did it in miles. Right, ha ha ha! Oh, here it is, here it is. Okay. So, yeah, Goblins never seen a house. Sure. But Goblin can now tell you both the world size properly. The world is 100,975 miles. So this number right here, in miles. So if you would convert that, like, for a planet is how big? So compared to in kilometers, sure, Gal can get that. Kilometers. So that in kilometers is 175,539 kilometers. That is bigger than Jupiter. Yeah, so this world map is just half that planet size, by the way. This world map that you see is only half the planet. Yeah. It's not even including the entire underwater society that exists just beneath the waterfalls here that live on the ground. I was not even including that space. Goblin has a lot planned for this world if you can't tell. You know what's funny, actually, with each of these continents? They actually planned to basically be shaped by something, but then Goblin just went mess around and cut them to pieces. They can't really identify what they were designed to have a similarity to. So like this here. This is actually supposed to be a woman's hair, and the waterfalls are her face, actually. Right here. You seriously call a woman's hair a squid? I mean, no, the guy's not gonna say anything. Not spoiling. This here, although some people may mix for a goblin or some other weird thing, it's actually supposed to be a cat monk that got, well, its leg completely cut off of its foot, etc. In design idea. Even though that's not how continents work, as Goblin knows, it's not how continents work, it's not how places are formed. Goblin doesn't care. Goblin wants to do inspirational things for fun and entertainment. This is supposed to be a rock bean strat. You see a rat head, really? No Goblin can see that. But it was supposed to be a cat monk. Anyway. This is a rock being struck by lightning. Boom. This was supposed to be. So there was supposed to be a whole, like, thing here, actually. Actually, where there was a little pathway between up this very thin line. Because it was supposed to be a hedgehog with a bow on its back. This is supposed to be a hedgehog with a bow on its back. The bow is completely gone at this point. This continent here, this big boy, it's supposed to be a staff and all of that has a snake, two snakes wrapping around it. It's supposed to be like that Doctor Health thing, staff type of thing that like doctor signs use and all of that, and with hospitals. It's supposed to be that, and you can still see the shape of it mostly. This one here, you know what? God wants to see if you can guess this one. The big one up here to the right. Can you guess this one? What's supposed to be? You're obsessed with squids, aren't you, the real ball? You're really obsessed with squids. How can you mistake that for a bird? Okay, wait, no, God can see that now, actually. Sheesh. That was not all what Goblin did. No, it's not peacock. So it originally was a skull and crossbones, actually. Until, like, the cross and all that broke. There's where the teethy mouth was. This area got messed up with the whole breaking it down. Yeah. Now, this one over here is going to be the most interesting to hear about. This one here, so Goblin will say. This one here, actually, Goblin went randomly threw a dart on the board on the states of the United States of America, and ran at random, and random on a random state, and Goblin decided, Goblin's going to take that state upside down and put wings on it. Now you can do your squid joke. Look, Goblin knows already, but at this point is a squid. What island's a chameleon? Oh wait, that chameleon right there. Well, that's supposed to be the wings. So this area is supposed to be wings. This area is supposed to be wings. Like Goblin's not. You're not gonna figure out the middle area. What state it was? Like what state that Goblin randomly flew on a dartboard and it landed on? What state of the United States it was supposed to be based on? Nope, not Ohio. Definitely not. You know, it has some of the coolest biomes from the map perspective, because it definitely draws the eyes of these two biomes here, the frozen jungle and this mystical forest, like that tuna fish did, which Goblin loves. It is not Ohio. Kentucky! Kentucky's fried chicken is not the best in Goblin's opinion. Yeah, but yeah, sure. Or it's not the Kentucky, sorry. Wait, real ball. Wait, are you Canadian? Goblin forgets you're Canadian. Or was it someone else that Goblin's thinking of? Okay. You're Belgrade? Goblin was completely off by your personality. Dang! Belgrade, okay. That actually explains so much, actually. It's probably really late for you that day, and Goblin hopes you don't get too tired to be a bolt. But, to tell you, this state is the state of Utah. The Utah state, the people that everyone's never wants to talk about. Because Goblin doesn't really care why. People generally don't like talking about it. Oh wait, did something get blocked? Let Goblin check the all mod here. What did it stop you from saying? Oh, you're allowed to say that. You're allowed to say that about yourself. Sheesh. Peach Goblin's not gonna stop you from degrading jokes. Goblin has depression. Mission. Potato, Utah? Yeah, Goblin's actually been to Utah. It's actually really chill there. It's actually a good place to ski. They're nice people. They have some cool tourist attractions. Utah's pretty nice. That's just Goblin's biased opinion. No, everyone has to agree. So, that aside, yeah. So that's the 7 continents of this half the world. Yep. Now, there's still one more race here to show you all. But here we are. No, wait, that's the monster guy. Why is Goblin on the way? So the last race in this world of New Earth, by the way, that was only half the playing scene. The Rise of Goblins campaign book, the first new race the Goblins introduced is the Yodada. And Goblin's gonna be blunt. Goblin took inspiration from League of Legends Yordles with making this. So these are like little small guys. They deal a lot more damage to bigger enemies. They are creative when it comes to making magical weapons and stuff like that. And are mortal creatures, technically speaking, but whenever they die, normally they get teleported back to the revival tree, even from older age, and are brought back to life and reborn. Yeah, actually, you know what? Heimdina from Arcane is actually a Yordle. And when he died and all of that, technically speaking, he's technically not dead. Because in Yordle lore and all of that, he would just be taken back to their tree and all of that in their own special little dimension that brings him back. So Heimdina, not dead. No, he's not. Although it is confusing because he died in a different world. So Goblin's like, will he be brought back to his own world tree for Yordles? Or the world tree in the other world's revival thing? So Goblin just went and made Goblin's own Virgils, calling him Yarnadolls. Goblin won't copy everything. Like, Goblin will make them original as possible, but and have their own lore as Goblin plans. But take inspiration from it and make these Yarnadolls. Yarnadolls. Goblin found the Yordles idea really cool, so they're like a different version of Goblins. So that's why Goblin's introducing him in the Rise of Goblins campaign book. Say the distant relatives and all that. That actually would be fun to write the lore of how that's possible. Oh wait, actually. Oh wait, that's actually going to be fun to bring up. The Goblin's going to go back to the very first quest here, because this is a campaign book after all. It has quests, etc. So, here's the first quest button for Goblins. Yep, this is the one Goblin needed. So all of this here, these are family names, characters, etc., events, information for the DM, blah blah blah. Now, there are different choices, and it helps the DM figure out how. This is supposed to be a guide to how to handling player choices, basically. It's meant to help players, new DMs, making new DM friendly to help player DMs figure out how to handle player choice by having these made. By telling about choices, what if a player does this, etc. It doesn't account for everything either, but it gives you a guideline basis. So, myth, answer, blah blah blah. Goblin still needs to go read yeah, correct this grammar, but where is it? This is all just the first quest, by the way. And then also Goblin gave it, so depending on what happens, there's actually like different paths they can run into different things and all of that. Goblin plans, and so there's random encounter like things that they can possibly run into or choose to interact with. Like a talking tree. Could happen. Oh, and a stick that glows too. The glowing stick. Oh, and also a serial killer that tries to kill a Gorgon. You can choose to save the Gorgon, or let the Gorgon die. Your call, man. Which Gorgons are like those of Medusa. Don't mix it up with the D&D Gorgon that they call it, because they call Medusas, like all Medusas are a race, and call Gorgons a different thing. That's not the reality of it. Anyway. Here we are. Now this is what Goblin wants to bring up. So, when they get here, they will find behind a snow-covered mummy. With the references that Goblin has already made with the Yordons, can either of you guess what character this is referencing? Especially with the name Cursed Winter Mummy Boy being connected to this. Who is this referencing? Come on. Hmm. What? Oh, come on. You only know arcane lore when it comes to the League of Legends Goblin understands this game. They really need to fix up the game and make it even casual fun. Like, just try to make it a little bit more casual fun, because like even Goblin's like it's hard to have fun with it. But so the character that this is inspired by, this Cursed Winter Mummy Boy, is a Muru from League of Legends. And basically, like in Goblin's opinion, Goblin's gonna be blunt here. League of Legends have abandoned like one of Goblin's favorite characters for the game, him, and left like him in the dust when it comes to lore, when it comes to updating his model. So many other things that Goblin's just frustrated with. The Goblin's like, nah. Goblin's taking Goblin's own copy version of it and giving him a happy world to live in, and then gonna give him story and lore, and actually treat him right as a storyteller. As basically a big slap to Riot Games for abandoning Goblin's favorite mummy. Yeah, Goblin doesn't recommend playing League unless you like want to deal with frustrating controls, guessing what works together, and watching hours of videos just trying to figure out how the game works. Like, you can learn it. It's just like it's a high skill ceiling game, and Goblin's just a low rank player who just plays for fun. So. And people still complain all that, so that's hot. Basically, this Cursed Mummy Winter Child is gonna be a Yonador when his race is properly revealed here about his curse and his story, which we told here as a side story to this campaign book, and Goblin's excited for it. But yeah. The choice-heavy stuff here in this first quest, the very first quest that Goblin gives to the players here, like, for the DM to use, is very important. Because the choices here affect the rest of the campaign. But, so yeah. But Goblin will go over and show basically what happens with basically the best ending. Yep, so here we are. So this is where basically, depending on the player's choices, which Goblin's excited to see, if they do the right choices, which basically, they go and save the townspeople from some kidnappers, and save some orc children, etc. From kidnappers from a slayer group. Then they go and help the frozen money boy, out of his chains from under the waterfall, as long as they do those two things, and then go and hunt the goblins they're supposed to hunt for. The town basically starts to have a party, celebrating what's happened. They realized the goblins were not that bad. They were just trying to figure out, because, like Goblin clarified, in this world of Goblin's Project, in the last 1,000 years, goblins are just a new race within these first 1,000 years of their existence, so they're a very new race to the world, compared to humans, elves, dwarves, and all the others. They're a new race. They're very new. And basically this Goblin tribe Mecca, have basically been trying to bond, get to know, and figure out what to do about like humans and all the other races. And then, when they're about to head out after the party dies peacefully, they're done celebrating and all of that. Basically, a group of 50 or so slayers burst down the front door of the town and come on in with a powerful Death Knight leader riding on his horse with a few generals by his side, seems like, and really at this point it looks like this guy's the leader of this big group of slayers. So Goblin's going to describe the slayers here. The slayers are a group of organization. That's fine. I'm the real bowl. Go and sleep. You can come and rewatch this part from this point to catch up later if you want, just to know. But it was nice seeing you, the real bowl. And thank you as well, followers, so far for being here. If you need to sleep as well, feel free to sleep. And, yeah, good night. Night, the real bowl. But yeah, Goblin also lets you two know about what Goblin's D&D group says about more players and all that. Flowers, don't exhaust yourself, please. But yeah, so, getting back to that, basically the Slayers group are a group of people that basically believe only humans, dwarves, elves, and gnomes deserve to be treated as equals and have rights, etc., and want to wipe out every other race from existence off the face of the earth. So that means Berlin, Elusia, trolls, if they existed. Trolls are totally made up. There's no way they're a real race in this world. They're just such a weird myth. Anyway, hey, basically, Gorgons, all those other races, Harpies, Sirens, Kitsune, hey, skeletons, zombies, anything that declares themselves living and wants to live peacefully that isn't humans, dwarves, gnomes, and elves. Nah, wipe them out. That's how the Slayer group is. And so, and basically a whole dialogue scene happens with basically the leader, this Death Knight guy, known as General Jack, the main big bad of this campaign book. Or one of them, really. And basically has a back and forth with the town, and it's just if the players do the happiest ending result. You only meet them if you do the right choices and all that. And basically goes around taunting each player's race and class and what they do, tells them their weaknesses, tells them their flaws, and just basically makes fun of any of them that aren't the races that he approves of, and it basically doesn't see him as a person, and still gives cruel remarks, even if they are human, dwarf, elf, or gnome. And if a Death Knight is in the party, so if someone's playing a Death Knight character, which you can, by the way, in this game, it's a class they can play as, finds it pretty fun, basically will grapple the Death Knight of that Death Knight weapon, by the way. So Goblin's going to clarify, a Death Knight weapon is stronger than a normal weapon because it's enchanted and linked to like a Death Knight, and so it's magically stronger and enhanced without any enchantments yet, and it doesn't count towards a Death Knight's enchantments stuff, like with enchanted weapons, etc. It's just a Death Knight add-on boost, and it makes the weapon a lot more harder to break, and it's a lot more stronger. Basically, this Death Knight General Jack, this Death Knight known as General Jack, if there's another Death Knight in the party that helped do the right thing and all that, will grapple to fight with a plus like 20 to that grapple, and it is basically going to take the Death Knight's weapon from them and break it with his bare hand. And say this, if there's a Death Knight, you are nothing compared to me. If you continue to interfere with my team's work, I will end you personally, myself. Yeah, so that's how Goblin introduces the big bad and all that. Of General Jack. And then there's a boatload of quests and stuff that will happen. Alright, Goblin actually needs to go and get that copy again. I've got the message earlier from... Where was it? Infiltrator. Here we are. But anyway, yeah, so this Goblin's been working on this for years, by the way, Flowers, so it's nice actually getting to talk about it a bit more. And Goblin's been getting Goblin stuff to actually work on it recently, so it's actually a bit nicer, but Goblin still has a bit to fix up. Wait. Yeah, here we are. But yeah, so Goblin really does hope to get this rolling more and really like get this actually play tested, play some campaigns with some people. Thank you. Yeah, and, like Goblin actually does need some thoughts here on like the options here. So Goblin's just going to switch over to a different. No, right now it's on the word search thing, on the players guide. Right. That's not what matters. So Goblin wants to go over what Goblin has Facebook-wise, and basically wants to know, does this sound like a bit too much? Because Goblin does worry, like Goblin knows it's a lot, but it's also like, you don't have to read everything, just like specific ones you want to play. So that's why Goblin's like, But anyway. So for the first book, the classes that people can play as are Fighter, Ranger, Barbarian, Cleric, Druid, Rogue, Buccaneer, which Buccaneer is basically like a pirate class, has Monk, Speedster, so like the idea of the Flash. Yes, you can play the Flash in this game. And to clarify why, to make it so it's like players don't feel like, oh my goodness, so you're going to make it so this is overpowered class here, but it's actually not going to be overpowered because apparently people can keep up with the Speedster and all that. Like, no, they can't run as fast. Most people can't run as fast. Like, Speedster's about running. The agility and reflexes, though, everyone's reflexes are basically the same. So basically, yes, a ranger can reflexively keep up with a speedster if they're the same level, but not as running land speed-wise as fast. So, just for balancing reasons. And it still was fun. Goblin made really fun build speedsters, hopefully. So, anyway. Then there's Paladin, Sorcerer. Omni is basically the wizard. So the wizard is basically called an Omni. That's because Goblin found the name cooler. And then Goblin's going to skip the next one's name, but Goblin also has Death Knight, Warlock, Artificer, and then, of course, Music Man / Woman is basically the Bard. Please tell Goblin you know that reference, Flowers. Do you know that reference? The silence is awkward and deadly. Okay, so it's from Matt Pat. It's Matt Pat. Matt Pat said that when Music Man, the animatronic, was introduced. So Goblin's like, that is a funny way of saying it, the way he just raised his voice. So Goblin just goes, Music Man / Woman. Yeah, so this is like Goblin's little reference nod to him with that. So yeah. But yeah, those are the 16 first classes that Goblin has for the project. Then, of course, races and all that. Like, Goblin, where's the races at? Here we are. Races, you have the humans, of course, then elves, orcs, trolls, goblins, dwarves, and gnomes playable, but also 2 original races. And Goblin will clarify, trolls, they should not exist. They do not exist. They're a myth. So Goblin's going to clarify, Goblin mixed basically the idea for these trolls of the World of Warcraft trolls with the Norway trolls. Look at what a Norway troll looks like, by the way. Just imagining that with tusks and green skin, that kind of mix. Hicks is a large-sized creature. So imagine a mix of a Norway troll and a World of Warcraft troll, and that's what Goblin's making here. Even though they're not supposed to exist. They don't exist. They totally don't. So actually, the whole point of the thing of the lore. So there's a whole lore thing with trolls that they don't exist, yet they actually do. It's a really fun thing Goblin's messing with. Basically, even the writing of the book is supposed to say, why do we even have this here? Trolls don't exist in this world. They actually do, but they don't exist to the eye. No. So, yeah. Anyway, the Berlin, to get to them really quick, basically is a race that basically is all about mutations. And basically, you can like have back spikes, tails, extra legs, extra arms, stuff like that. And it's a limited number. So, like, if you say you're a medium-sized violin, you can have 2 extra arms and basically have 4 arms, or 2 tails, or a 3rd eye, or enhanced senses, or back spikes. One of Darwin's favorite mutations, actually, or 2 extra legs, that kind of stuff. But then if you choose to be a small violin, you can be a small size instead of a medium. You can get 3 mutations instead. You can have 3 tails, 3 extra arms, making it so you have 5 arms to use. 3 extra legs, making it so you have 5 legs as you run around. That kind of stuff. That's the violin race. And then the Elusia. Oh, the Elusia. The Elusia are tiny little creatures. They're tiny in size. So, like, tiny as little mouses. They're tiny little mice. And they look like mouses, but they have demon horns. They are demon mice, the Elusia. And wanna know what makes these tiny little playable race so cool? They get a +8 to strength. They basically get a huge, like, buff on, like, any other race to basically go Hulk, bomb, 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 bomb. On, like, a bigger character than them. And they also can teleport a short distance, but only, like, once a day usually, depending on their endurance points, which basically, they have short range, 30 feet teleportation to help them get around when need to. So yeah, Elusia. Demon mice, basically. And then the backgrounds. Let's go over every single background. Ones you would find common. Basically, farmer, commoner, teacher. Commoners are like for those that are not farmers or teachers. Royalty, like basically princes, kings, queens, blah blah. Or not really kings and queens, because they're too busy being kings and queens. Names are like princesses, princesses, and princes, and nobles are royal. The quiet kid background. Of course, there's the quiet kid. Believer from a religious character backgrounds. Someone that grew up in a guild and all of that, for like adventurers, stuff like that. Those also background. Criminal, adventurer, for people who actually did adventuring already, most of their life. Law enforcement, and also the fanboy / girl. Basically, you could be Amy Rose with this background. And know always where your person you fan over all the time is. And just be able to follow them. Then a child and villain, basically you have really bad parent who is a villain and cause a lot of trouble. Orphan town hero, lived alone, traveler, hunter, technical man, because it is like technological advancements in Goblin's project. There is like some areas that speak steampunk. Some. Not common though, it's super rare. Then the last episode of our home. Now 2 of Goblin's favorites that Goblin hasn't explained yet. A person from another world. It's basically the Isekai background. How you get to be basically saying you're from Earth and all of that from the old days and get to come to this new Earth and say you're from another world. And then that one guy / girl. That one guy / girl. Tell Goblin, what do you think? Who do you think is that one guy / girl, meaning? Who do you think it is? As a background. Oh, that's fair. That's fair. If you don't know Flowers. So the background of that one guy slash girl. Basically, Deadpool or Pinkie Pie. They break the fourth wall. All they know they're a tabletop RPG. They are basically that one wacky person that everyone thinks is crazy, but actually just knows more than they should. They're the fourth wall breaking maniac. Background. That is that one guy slash girl. The one who wants to fake the fourth wall. Yeah, and that's 21 backgrounds right there for you to play with. And also, Goblin has all turn order combat stuff, even battle on land, sea, and sky, spell lists, the stats. Yeah. Goblin's made a lot if you can't tell. Because Goblin's going to tell you, between these 5 books, four. Four hasn't gotten to 5 yet. Goblin hasn't done that yet. Nope. Goblin is stick to these 4. And finish them. Has made... Yeah, it's over like 500 pages. So Goblin's been working on this for years now at this point. It's just been hard getting Goblin himself to work on it recently. That's because it's been time consuming, and whenever Goblin tries to work on it, Goblin yawns and usually tries to fall asleep. So, yeah, Goblin's been working on this for a long time. But yeah, right now, oof, it's getting late. Yeah. But any questions, thoughts, or concerns, Flowers? And do you think, just from based on what you've seen so far, do you think you would have fun with this type of system? And that's not even including the customization stuff, because Goblin focuses a lot on making so there's a lot of cool story and world building, but balance of also high customization fun. Like, so like an example of this is how Goblin makes so it actually costs less experience to multi-class, as there is basically every player gets talent based on their class, which talents and all of that basically changes the playstyle of the class or how it can fight. So like the Barbarian has some talents to basically make it so they can build up and become a fire elemental if they want it to be. Yes, there's a Barbarian talent tree like that. And then there's one for every class basically of talent trees with 25 talents each for each class so far. So, and then there's gifts, which are basically like general things that anyone can take, and they're a lot smaller and weaker in number, but they have a lot of customization and flexibility to help the player build up their skill set. The gifts are basically the equivalent of feats, basically. Gollum likes them calling them gifts because it's a lot more fun sounding calling them that, instead of just feat or feats, etc. And then the third thing is Goblin made as a custom thing is a powerful thing they don't get as often. Like you only get at first level, and then every 9th level. It's called a secret. Basically, these secrets are very powerful. You don't want to share that you have them, but they're very powerful abilities that let you do things like a metal arrow, which basically makes it so you deal like an extra 2d6 damage when you shoot a bow when you trigger your metal arrow, but it does a little bit of damage to you as a side effect. As a secret, this is the trade-off because you can get one at level 1. But you also, as you get more secrets, you can just retake the same one and remove the downside of the secret. So like, metal arrow, if you take it a second time, you remove the downside, just get extra damage every time. Thank you, Flowers. There is just a lot, and Goblin knows that, but it's also like, it's even a lot for Goblin, because Goblin sometimes even forgets certain things are made or what's done and all of that. And the reality is, the player's guide, really, it's basically just needs like some restructuring on wording and spell corrections. And then basically just playtesting and see if it's ready. The player's book is basically ready, Goblin believes. There's a few things like, here it is, this one. Yeah, just adding on more detail to explain certain abilities like whirlwind attack, mobility, die hard, resist all. Some of these gifts that Goblin hasn't fully dived in explained, or not explained enough. talents, they're done. Like, it's just like wrapping things up and finalizing details and information to get it all ready. And reorganizing, of course, to make it so it's like, why is it wanting it all to be bold like that? Okay. Anyway. And yeah. So it just needs some finalizations to adjust things and fix things up. And then have it all ready. And yes, these are... Actually, yeah, there is an alignment system that does affect combat stuff. Of a little bit. Not as much as other things, but... You know, yeah, so one day Goblin hopes to get this all ready at reasonable time at some point. It's getting close to being done this book at least. He just needs some rewriting and rewording to fix things. Why does high heels need to become heels? And then Goblin still needs, like, there's still a lot to be... Oh wait, the Goblin just fallen. Let Goblin pull that back up. Anyway. Then there's still, like, the Game Owner's Guide. That still has a lot that needs to be done. Or not a lot. Just, like, a few things that Goblin wants to add that still Goblin hasn't finished. Like, certain guilds Goblin needs to write the lore on. World building stuff. Mystical items. Some playable races or lore information on races, etc. Like, let's see here. What's on Goblin's mind? Like, let's see here. There's something that Goblin wanted to... Right. Oh, actually, you know what Goblin's gonna say here? So Goblin has... So Goblin, to understand the world a bit, basically each kingdom has a different stage of advancement of, like, technology, magic, and stuff like that. So some people in certain areas and continents, and because the world's so big, you know how big the world is at this point. It's like the ridiculous 1007 at 9 109075 world size, as you know, with how big it is. There is actually discrepancy. Gollum believes that's a word for it. Where basically some kingdoms are in the caveman stage still of technology and magic and all that. Basically only caveman level stuff. While others are all the way up to steampunk or cowboy. So it very depends. So Goblin's trying to, like, with Goblin's world building here, entire thing, Goblin's trying to encompass all fantasy, basically. It's very stupid, it's ridiculous, but it's meant to be a fun world where basically you can have a cowboy facing off against hence a caveman and in a duel. So, yeah. So, that just helps to explain something here, because Goblin does have artifices, as Goblin explained. That means magical tech stuff up in the base book. So, one thing that Goblin's made, Goblin has made a playable race inspired by B-1 battle droids from Star Wars as a playable race. And also golems. You can play as a golem. And also gorgons, and sirens, and harpies. And kitsune. What else is there? How many playable races has Goblin got sorted out already? Let's see here. There's a lot of playable races between all four books. And here's the thing. If all four of these books do well enough, like, Goblin hopes to get these released at some point and actually publicized. Or published. As like official tabletop RPG books. If Goblin ever gets to that point, and they do well enough, Goblin would continue making more books. Like, there's so many campaigns that Goblin wants to do, beyond just the Rise of Goblins campaign saying that you have been told about so far. And beyond, like, the stuff that Goblin has shown you already. Like, there's one campaign book that Goblin wants to take inspiration from, basically Skyrim, and have it so be that Dragonborn is actually, like, buried away with his vampire wife. You know who Goblin's referencing, but she's actually a good person. Unlike the actual Skyrim one, because the reality is that Skyrim vampire lady is not an actual good person, and people just fanboy over her because she looks good. So Goblin wants to make a good version of her, what people would actually like. But yeah. And so it would be basically finding the ancient tomb of this Dragonborn and his vampire wife and all of that. That's been lost for eons and all that is one campaign what Goblin wants to do. Then there's all the with the ancient dragon books inside. Or you can tell like Goblin loves taking inspiration from other franchises, not ripping them off, but taking inspiration from what they did and making own Goblin stories from them and beings and characters and all that. Like one powerful being that Goblin has made. Powerful beings here, by the way, are like the equivalents of gods and all of that in Goblin's project, but they don't call themselves gods because of the godhead of Goblin's world and all of that, which are powerful. They are the gods, and basically like people like Zeus and all of that did exist in the world, but Zeus basically caused a war between the powerful beings and all that because he selfishly wanted to be called God when he was told, no, you're not God. And yeah, a whole fight broke out, and a lot of people died. A lot happened. Basically, because of Zeus' selfishness and even killing his own kids, he was put down and killed alongside Odin and a few other of the old powerful beings like Zeus. Other ones like Hades fought against Zeus, and Thor as well fought against Odin and Zeus in the end, alongside even Loki, and all retired peacefully afterwards. But even Artemis went backstabbed Zeus because Zeus actually went and killed Apollo when he went and tried to help a powerful being who wasn't involved in the war, actually. She was just going around healing people and helping anyone she can. Yeah, it's a whole war thing. Like, Goblin loves the World War that Goblins build for this project. But, yeah, so Zeus, dead, gone. And basically, powerful beings don't see themselves as gods, because they're not. Because they're immortal, yes. But they're not God. Because they are not all powerful, they are not all knowing and not all loving, etc. And so there's a whole different the structural deity system and all that you can follow these powerful beings, but they're not gods. But they do help you as they can, etc., and give you powers. So yeah, Goblin's just done a lot for this project. That Goblin, if Goblin actually got Goblin himself to get down and play with someone, Goblin would hope it makes sense, but also oh wait, it's supposed to be new feature. That's what's happening. Okay, new feature. There we go. But yeah, Goblin's done so much, and Goblin just... When Goblin gets a chance, actually, Goblin does love to talk about it, but also Goblin wants to actually play test this at some point. That's the main struggle that Goblin's been having to get Goblin stuff to work on it. Is that every time Goblin does and gets stuff done, it doesn't feel like it's going anywhere because Goblin doesn't even know if it's fun. So if Goblin just gets all the work done for it, but then Goblin doesn't know if it's fun because Goblin can't get playtesting, it feels pointless. So it's been making Goblin yawn, be tired, exhausted, that sort of stuff. Does that make sense? But yeah, if you do want 2 flowers, there should be... It's your call in the end, and Goblin... Oh wait, you did actually... Oh wait, you would be a... Goblin will go and... Have you checked the rules? Yep, okay. So Goblin doesn't know how to set up the bot stuff, so Goblin needs to manually give people roles. So, it's been a bit. But Goblin just give you access and all that. Here we are, so it's the verified fans. Oh, here we are. How's Goblin add someone? Permissions. Add members, here we are. Add members, here we are, it's Flower. There we go. Now, it's just been a bit since Goblin has had to do this, so... There you go. You should be able to access stuff now, and yes, Goblin also calls all Goblin's fans stalkers, fuckers. It's a joke thing. Don't take it so serious. But yeah. Feel free to pick up roles and all that, and once Goblin knows and looks at them, because Goblin has to manually give them, just feel free to put in things you want, and you can mark that you watch them and all the other stuff. And other than that, yeah. It's been pretty nice, actually. Oh, right. You know what? You'll probably find this funny. Goblin's not sure, but Goblin's just saying it. Goblin has playable slimes and mimics in Goblin's projects. Yes, even slimes and mimics are playable. I mean, after hearing everything else you think is playable, like, what do you think Goblin's... Like, even... Have Goblin got the dragons playable yet? Not yet, actually. That's actually for a special campaign book idea. Yeah, these are the rare spells. This is all where the magic stuff is, and all the different spells and what they do. Goblin believes goblins have all the spells done. There shouldn't be any missing. Oh, and then there's languages. Yep. Now, Goblin is being ambitious with this project. And this will be the perfect example of why Goblin's saying this is ambitious. Basically, Goblin has all these languages here. There's got Naha, got Wild, got Tyler, got Feg, got Het, got Well, got Jela, for Gnomish languages. There's Orca, or Hala, all these languages. Goblin's working on making the actual functional languages to a degree. It's not going to be perfect, but yeah. So here are the alphabets, which I hate sock. That's an alphabet, has a whole lore to it. But basically, the creator of the alphabet of I hate sock basically hated the Englisha word, which is basically English or the common languages. It's basically the common language of Humies. Basically decided that they hated sock so much, they wanted to make the word sock unpronounceable by alphabetical standards alone. So they made sock unpronounceable, technically. In fact, Goblin can even go and show the alphabet because it's in the player's guide and lets you see why it's unpronounceable. So Goblin's going to do that here. No, it did not. There you go. So let's see here. Goblin needs to find it though. So find, and then find sock. Here it is. So this is the alphabet word. This for the sock, and this is what it sounds like. Try and make that sound. I'm gonna wake Goblin with some sounds. It's unpronounceable. Gosh, I know. Yeah, Goblin made it so. But just to make that one sound to say sock is basically meant to say, no, this word is not pronounceable. But yeah. Yeah, I Hate Sock has a lot of connections to English translation. Like, Goblin wants to make them proper languages, so Goblin may have to rework these and all of that. After, because Goblin's going to actually take some, like, looking up and researching on how to make this work, how to adjust things, how to relate them, etc. So it may not turn out this way at all. But Goblin's still planning for I Hate Sock alphabet to still have sock unpronounceable. Once Goblin gets it actually properly work, like a proper alphabet and all that. Wait, did Goblin not get Finley alphabet done yet? Huh. Goblin hasn't. Goblin needs to get that done then. But yeah, so that's the plan. Oh right, and Goblin even got these weird characters for certain ones as well. But yeah, with that, that was Goblin's project stuff. Goblin was hoping to work on it a bit more, but the stream went way longer than Goblin thought. Do check out Eerie Adventures, everyone who's watching us after the stream or even during it. Eerie Adventures, thank you for the raid again. If you're even around, well, probably not. Goblin understands. You rated more than usual because people get busy with life. Eerie Adventures is a very fun streamer. Very chill. Anyway, let's see here. Who to raid? Oh, by the way, here's the Goblin raid message, and thank you, Flower Hours, for coming in and watching because of the Real Bowl, and Goblin is grateful for you following and the Real Bowl getting that happening, really. Goblin hopes his exam goes well. Goblin hopes the Real Bowl can handle his upcoming exam. And, yeah. Also, if you want to take a look at some of the fun redeems here, Goblin may try and make some new ones in the future coming up. So, yeah, thank you. And Goblin will try and be streaming more in the future in the coming days. There's a D&D stream tomorrow. Also, please do hopefully come and enjoy that. But there's the Goblin raid message. Now, who to raid? Who to raid? Goblin, because he was Goblin's following, who was streaming still. Oh, dang, this girl's doing a subathon? Huh. Day 11, dang. Huh. Yeah, that should be a fun one to raid. We're going to be raiding someone doing a subathon right now. Her name. Oh, wait, Goblin is following up again. Like, Goblin remembers following her at some point, but doesn't. When was that? Anyway. Israel VT. Or Israela VT. She's a Asian streamer. He's not English speaking, though. Oh, I don't believe she's like some sort of sea fish VTuber. But it's been a bit since Goblin's speaking to some of the VTubers that Goblin's followed. Goblin follows way too many. Anyway, rating time. Goblin raid. Goblin raid. And we are out of here.